Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for National Farmers Day. We wanted to show some appreciation for the hundreds of farmers who call our ag reserve and other places in our county home. We just wrapped up a terrific luncheon. Thank you again to Green Plate Catering for the delicious lunch for today. We also heard from farmers throughout the county about their top priorities and also to officially proclaim October 12th as National Farmers Appreciation Day on the council, a momentous occasion to honor the hardworking men and women who have dedicated their lives to feeding and supplying our nation. I'm proud to be joined by my colleagues, Councilmember Marilyn Balcombe and Councilmember Don Luedtke, and the rest of the council to deliver this proclamation. We have over a dozen farmers and organizations represented here today, and we will hear from a few of them in just a moment. If you want to come and join me if you're here for the Farmers Day proclamation, after you can join us now or when the council members get started. Yes, come on up. Everyone from the luncheon, join us. We just want to express our deep appreciation to the Office of Agriculture for helping us organize this event. We are so fortunate to have the leadership of former Director Jeremy Criss, newly appointed Director Mike Scheffel, and the entire Office of Agriculture team, including members from the United States Department of Agriculture. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, Councilmembers Balcombe and Luedtke, I wanted to emphasize my full support for all farmers and the beautiful 93,000 acres of agricultural reserve in Montgomery County. This prized gem generates over $280 million in revenue for Montgomery County. It's home to over 558 farms and more than 10,000 residents. We must leverage the Ag Reserve's infinite potential for strategic investments in our communities. And together with my colleagues, I am committed to streamlining access to purchase affordable land, cultivate crops, acquire food, and building permits for new and existing farmers to produce healthy food options. And now I'd like to pass the mic off to my colleagues, Councilmember Marilyn Balcombe, and then Councilmember Don Luedtke to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sayles, for arranging this today, and welcome to all the farmers. I'm so glad that you're here, and it's great to see so many familiar faces, but even greater to meet new farmers. And so I have the great honor of representing the Ag Reserve along with Councilmember Luedtke. We call it the Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Thank you to Dawn for that moniker. But we are so proud to represent our farmers. And I just want to stress that farming is a business. And we need to make sure that we do everything that we can to make sure that our farmers are financially successful. That is the only way that we're going to continue to preserve the Ag Reserve. And the partnerships that have come up between our food security, our nonprofits working on food security, our farm to table programs. It's been a great partnership that the entire council is looking forward to continuing and supporting. And I just want to say we are here for you, and please make sure that you let us know anything we can do to help make your farm successful. Thank you.
Clearly, I did not get the memo about what color to wear today. I am very excited to have such an amazing group of folks standing behind us here today who are not just farmers, but are part of the entire agricultural ecosystem. And it does take a full system to work collaboratively together for the betterment of the whole. And, in Montgomery County, we're good at saying we're on the leading edge of a lot of things. And certainly when the Ag Reserve was created many years ago, when I was little, we were leading edge, but it didn't stop there. It started there. And I want to commend our agricultural producers for their environmental sustainability and for their use of cutting edge technology to improve their farming operations in improving the products that they're able to to sell out to us, and always being open to collaborating, again, outside their own business operations and across other businesses and across other community organizations for the betterment of the whole. You are critically important to our county, to our state, to the region, and a lot of what we do, especially in the food systems resiliency world, is regional, not just ending at Montgomery County's borders. And for that and for your willingness to always share and collaborate with us and across government, I am very appreciative. So without further ado, I know there are folks who are going to come up and speak. I'll turn it back to Councilmember Sayles.
All right. And so now, thank you, Councilmembers Balcombe and Luedtke. We're going to hear from one of our farmers. We have Nia Nyamweya with Beauty Blooms Farm.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Sayles, Balcombe, Luedtke, and all council members for having us here today. It's an honor to be with you to celebrate National Farmers Day. I also want to thank my family and people who have supported my farm journey, Manna Food Center, and LandLink. It's really good to be with you today. My name is Nia Nyamweya. I'm the founder and farm manager of Beauty Blooms Farm. I'm a returning generation farmer, a lifelong Montgomery County resident, and one, if not the first, small-scale regenerative vegetable farmers to lease and grow in a Maryland State Park in Damascus. At Beauty Blooms Farm, our mission is to celebrate cultural heritage through food. We do this through growing majority African heritage crops, providing the bulk of what we grow to the local food banks, and using African indigenous farming practices to build soil health. This is our third full season, and we definitely have a lot more learning to do, and yet each year we've doubled our harvests, and this season, without water access and no electricity, we've harvested 7,000 pounds and counting from under 1 acre. While farming is no doubt a challenging job, what I'd like to share and celebrate today is how the farmers in this room are community leaders and optimists. Farmers are leaders and optimists because they choose to build something positive and feed their communities even amongst many barriers. Many farmers, and in particular farmers of color, lease and do not own their farmland. Sometimes we dance around the why and a bitter truth of our history, that our food system in the U.S. has its roots in stolen land and stolen labor. The land discrimination that resulted from these historical injustices is why Black farmers own and operate about 1% of our nation's farms. Just 1%, and even less for women of color. And even while having to work off-farm jobs to make ends meet, farmers still show up and are determined to feed their communities healthy, locally grown, fresh food. Hope, determination, and persistence are the characteristics the farmers in this room embody. Amidst systemic inequities, climate change, and land access barriers, still, farmers are resilient. Farmers choose to lead and create local solutions to food insecurity, steward the earth well, and work for a brighter farming future. That's why I'm proud to celebrate National Farmers Day here with you. To farm is to love the land and to truly love people. Thank you so much for this proclamation, and happy National Farmers Day.
Thank you so much, Nia, for those touching words. Now we're going to hear from another farmer, Tanya Doka Spondla with Passion to Seed Gardening.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to let me share my farming journey with you. My name is Tanya Doka Spondla. I'm a small-scale farmer and owner of Passion to Seed Gardening, PTSGs, that's how I like to call it. As well as a farm and food educator program manager for AfriThrive. It's a nonprofit organization, 501c3. The mission for Passion to Seed Gardening, it's farming for impact. And for AfriThrive mission, it's building vibrant, thriving immigrant and minority families through access to nutritious, culturally appropriate food, skills development, and economic opportunity. Passion to Seed Gardening came into being in spring of 2015. As the name suggests, this came all about as a passion from within to practice sowing the seed in the garden and relishing the journey as the seed grows. My parents also played a role in exposing me and my siblings when we were growing up in Zimbabwe. That exposure propelled me into having this passion come into being. Thankfully, through Land-Link program administered by Montgomery Countryside Alliance in collaboration with Montgomery County Office of Agriculture, I was matched with a landowner in Laytonsville. Passion to Seed is a certified naturally grown operation. Our produce is all naturally grown in a pesticide-free environment. The vegetables and ingredients at PTSG are foundations for a world of delicious, exciting recipes and dishes from around the world. Besides growing contemporary varieties of produce, we are very much focused on growing culturally appropriate vegetables for the communities of different ethnic backgrounds. PTSG has been partnering with Mana Food, AfriThrive, Community Farm Share in this effort to supply these organizations with sustainably grown produce for distribution to their clients in need and around the DMV area. There is real need for culturally appropriate food in these urban communities, and PTSG and AfriThrive are excited and energized to contribute in this effort by expanding growing operations to include heated greenhouses, cold storage facilities, and other much needed infrastructure to support our operations. Furthermore, in my capacity with AfriThrive Inc., we operate a farm in Postville where we focus on growing culturally appropriate produce, which we harvest and distribute to recipients every Friday morning in Aspen Hill, Silver Spring. As part of AfriThrive's initiative, we are also working with an elementary school within the county to establish a school garden. Once all the procedural paperwork is completed, we hope to collaborate and grow produce with the school kids at the school. Farming looks promising and inspiring in the sense that small-scale producers are finally being recognized as an integral part of thriving and productive sector of agriculture. When COVID showed up on our doorstep, small-scale producers played a role in growing and supplying fresh produce in partnership with local food banks, whose platforms distribute to underserved communities. Food prices have significantly gone up due to inflation, and with the recent cuts in SNAP benefits, we as small-scale farmers and food distribution entities, we get energized. We plan to plant and grow more produce for delivery to various food banks through the Farm to Food Bank program. Food insecurity is prevalent in our communities even after the COVID pandemic. I'm always conscious about who I'm growing for. As of today, Passion to Seed has been able to deliver with over hundreds of pounds to Mana Food Bank and Community Farm Share. By the same token, AfriThrive Cultural Farm has produced a variety of culturally appropriate produce this past growing season, and we've been distributing it among our recipients at the food pantry. Injecting more funding to food banks and pantries so that farmers can benefit from such programs like Farm to Food Bank. Small-scale farmers being adequately paid in order to maintain a viable farming business entity is one of the wishes I think that each and every farmer would want to see in the long run. This program is best for both worlds. The farmer gets paid, the recipients get locally grown fresh produce, and this reduces farm produce waste that would have decayed or decomposed in the field. This program helps to bridge the gap in some communities that are not able to afford quality fresh produce, and that is also culturally appropriate. It is my sincere hope and wish that this program becomes a blueprint in the county, and country for that matter, for the foreseeable future. Thank you for the opportunity, giving me this platform to present and share my aspirations and journey in this farming arena. Thank you so much, and happy Farmers Day.
then I think we were going to hear from one more farmer before we read the proclamation. Doug? Doug with Laytonsville Turf Farm.
Hello, my name is Doug Lecklider. I am with Laytonsville Turf Farm. We grow turf grass as well as corn, wheat, and soybeans. And I'll be very brief, but I want to say to this council that as a farmer in this county, I've never been as excited about a council as I have this one, because we may not always agree, but I feel like you listen. And I think to the farmers here, that's pretty important. We're not a majority of the county, but we do like it when you listen to us and we can come to some agreements. So I applaud you. And I'd just like to say that Councilman Katz over here reminded me that I was born into a swine and beef farm, of which I have none anymore. My dad would, at that time we called it a garden, he grew 2 or 3 acres of garden, of which I have never planted a tomato plant since I left that farm when I got out of high school. I say that to say this: farming evolves, and it's in economics. We are blessed to have this ag reserve, and to make it work, it takes a diversity of farming. These acres have to be utilized, and they need to be profitable to stay in farming. And time will change. My son's farm will look different from mine, and times will change, but the economics will say that, will dictate that. Anything that we grow, this is a deficit state for crops. So soybeans is hauled in here from other states. Corn is hauled in here to feed the livestock that's on the shore and in Pennsylvania and so forth. And we all partake of that. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to have my council member colleagues join me in reading the proclamation. Whereas National Farmers Day, once called Old Farmers Day, originated when agriculture was much more common in everyday life, with its date set to October 12th after the traditional harvest of many crops, and
whereas National Farmers Day honors the hardworking men and women who have dedicated their lives to feeding our nation and fueling our economy. The contributions range from providing a safe, healthy, sustainable, and secure food supply to providing jobs, promoting agritourism, and stimulating rural economies, and
Whereas the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1933 was the first farm bill introduced 90 years ago. The farm bill aimed to prevent individual farmers from destabilizing the marketplace by overproducing. Moreover, it aimed to enhance productivity and protect our nation's farmland in collaboration with farm families. And
whereas 1/3 of Montgomery County, or 93,000 acres, is designated as the agricultural reserve, home to 558 farms, more than 10,000 people, and contributes over $280 million to the county's economy. And whereas
during the pandemic, farmers in Montgomery County partnered with local nonprofits and utilized the Farm to Food Bank program to provide local, nutritious food to residents in need. And
whereas Montgomery County continues to invest in the farming industry by expanding the Farm to Table program, locally procuring food in government agencies, promoting the importance of shopping locally, supporting minority farmers, paying farmers a livable wage, and equitably distributing farmers markets in underserved communities. And
now therefore be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby recognizes National Farmers Day as a momentous occasion to recognize the tremendous service farmers provide for our communities. presented on this 10th day of October in the year 2023 by Councilmembers Sayles, Balcombe, and Luedtke, and the entire Montgomery County Council. Thank you.